I turned myself in on my own accord to try to get this taken care of. So I'm just hoping to see if I can get a bond today, so I can be home for Christmas. I paid the bondsman $500 to get me to court. When I called the bondsman tells me he's out of town. I don't know.
I don't understand why you're telling me that it's up to your bondsman to get you to court. That
I'm
looks
going to be
like
sitting
where it
here
is.
till January 3rd.
What?
I'm going to be sitting here till January 3rd after I've been sitting in jail 10 days.
This judge is about to make a big decision whether this man gets to go home for the holidays or spend Christmas behind bars. He's currently in custody for a theft that happened 4 years ago. Even though he turned himself in just 10 days ago, he previously missed a court appearance, which is why his bond was denied. You can really feel the tension in the courtroom. Everyone knows how important this ruling is, not just legally, but personally too. I'll be honest, I'm torn on this one. On one hand, he came forward voluntarily. On the other, skipping court the first time was a serious mistake. What do you think? Should he be released or remain in custody? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy following courtroom moments like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's take a look at how this plays out.
How you doing today?
Fine. Are you Mr. Kelly?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm Judge Sanders. We're just having a docket call today. That's the purpose of this. And what it is, Mr. Kelly, is that's a 2020 case that you had. And apparently, the state is requesting that your probation on that case be revoked and that you.
Yes, sir. So, I bonded out on that case, correct? And I paid the bondsman $500 to get me to court. When I called the bondsman tells me he's out of town. So I called Judge Sanderfield's office 3 times. Then I called the court clerk 3 times, and I called the district attorney's office and try to get a Zoom link. They told me they couldn't give me a Zoom link on the case. So I called back my bondsman. He says, well, what you need to do is start walking. So I called my attorney, Watts, at the time, and he said there was nothing he could do for me. So 10 days ago, I just got a new job working at Kohl's, making $27 an hour. 10 days ago, on Friday the 13th, I go turn myself in to Sedgwick County to get this taken care of. And then, I guess they finally just get a hold of you guys a couple of days ago on the 20th and said that I was ready to be picked up. But I turned myself in. I did everything I was supposed to do to try to get to court on back in July. I called everybody I could, tried the judge, everybody, so my bond wouldn't get revoked. And then, I turned myself in on my own accord to try to get this taken care of. So I'm just hoping to see if I can get a bond today, so I can be home for Christmas. I did do my part of turning myself in and did everything I could back in July to get here. And I just want to get this taken care of. It's a 4-year-old case, sir. And like I said, I just got a $27 an hour paying job, and I just would like to get it taken care of.
It looks like back in June, your judge revoked your bond. You failed to appear.
Yes.
The court issued a bench warrant and a no bond hold.
Yes, sir. I understand that because I didn't show up in court, but it wasn't my fault. I paid the bondsman $500 to get me here, and he couldn't get me here. It was his duty to get me here when I paid him $500. I bonded out and gave him $500 to make sure I got here. And then when he told me he couldn't get me here, I called everybody I could. The judges' chambers. I called the district attorney. I called everybody I could, and it was all documented. I even called Mr. Watts, my lawyer at the time, and no one could help me out. But now that I got this new paying job, I turned myself in on my own accord. I figured I should at least be able to get a bond so I can I'm trying to do what's right here, by turning myself in and getting this taken care of. And
At first, I actually started to feel a little sympathy for this guy, but then he completely lost me. He really seems to believe that just because he paid a bondsman $500, it's somehow the bondsman's responsibility to make sure he shows up to court. That's just not how it works. The bondsman puts up the money for your bail. He's not your personal escort or babysitter. At some point, you've got to take responsibility for your own actions. Blaming someone else and getting emotional about missing Christmas won't undo the fact that he skipped court, and honestly, it might hurt his case more than help it. Now, it's up to the judge to make a call. It's a tough spot because, as people, we want to be compassionate, but when someone keeps deflecting blame like this, it's hard to take them seriously. What do you think? Is he just confused, or is he playing the system? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get back into the hearing.
I don't understand why you're telling me that it's up to your bondsman to get you to court.
Well, I paid him $500 to make sure I got here.
How much was your bond?
$5,000.
Well, that's just the bondsman's fees for putting the money up for you. That's not the.
I figure that's the well.
That's not
Ain't
to
it their
pick you
job
up
to
and
make sure
haul
I
you
get
to
here?
court.
Ain't it their job to make sure I get to court though?
No, not unless you got some special arrangement with him, and that's nothing that the court has to do. And that's just his fee to make a bond for you, so that you don't have to put up any money. Well, all right. In any event, Judge Satterfield has set that as a no bond hold. She wants to see you before she'd even consider bond, and I'm not going to do a sideways appeal on this and overrule her. So
I can't get no bond.
Nope, no bond. Now, what they have done is give you a special setting, expedited hearing on your case. And this is for bond revocation. And it's at 1:30 on January the 3rd. And that's to be in person.
And Your Honor,
And no bond until that time. Yes, Mr. Regier.
based off of the state's information, that is a 1 o'clock setting, but I believe it is an in-person setting on January 3rd.
I thought I said that. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, it's in person, right?
That is the state's understanding, Your Honor.
Yes, I understand that too. So, that
So
looks
I'm gonna
like
be sitting
where it
here
is.
till January 3rd.
What?
I'm gonna be sitting here till January 3rd after I've been sitting in jail 10 days.
Yes. Well, then I suggest that you do. I take it that you don't have money for a lawyer, and Mr. Watts had previously represented you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What you might do, because I'm at this point, I'm going to go ahead and reappoint him for you, is you might get a hold of him and see.
Ain't no way of getting a hold of him. I've been trying to get a hold of him for a week.
You have his number?
Yeah, I got his number. My wife got his number. My mom got his number. We all been trying to get a hold of him for a week. I've been sitting in Sedgwick County Jail for a week.
Well, I'd suggest that maybe you try to give him a call this afternoon. If in any event,
How's that gonna help me any?
well, he could maybe file an emergency motion with Judge Satterfield, because I'm not going to overrule another judge here on that.
All right, so I guess we done here then.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. You're excused.
Your Honor, could you repeat the time for the January 3rd date,
Yes.
please?
It's January the 3rd at 1 p.m. and she wants that in person. So I take it that means he needs to be at the courthouse in court.
Also, what do you think? Did the judge make the right decision? Personally, I think he did. Sure, spending Christmas in jail is tough, but that's the risk you take when you break the law. Actions have consequences, and in this case, the man made his choices. He didn't show up for court, and now he's dealing with the fallout. The part that really stood out to me was how emotional he got. He even seemed to suggest it was the bondsman's responsibility to get him to court, which just isn't true. Once you're out on bond, it's up to you to follow through. No one else is going to hold your hand. And I have to admit, I was a bit skeptical when he claimed he had a $27 an hour job at Kohl's. That seemed like a stretch. Maybe I'm wrong, but that number didn't sound realistic for a new hire. Either way, the judge stayed focused and made a decision based on the facts, not the tears. I really respect how the judge handled this firm, but fair. If you miss a court date, you're violating your bond. It's as simple as that. If you found this breakdown interesting, feel free to like and subscribe for more courtroom coverage. And let me know in the comments, did the judge get it right? Or would you have ruled differently? Thanks so much for watching, and take care.